Hello, 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 all my beastie loves. How's everybody doing today? Croc, how are you feeling, my cootie ridden Croc? Croc, how's my cootie ridden
Not
Croc
too bad.
doing?
This, I'm actually not doing too bad. Um, the voice is still a little hashed out, and I've got the residual cough from whatever the hell it was. But whatever the hell it was has been dealt with. So
Sandy, I
yeah,
need one of those. Hey,
a
Paul.
chairlift.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about that. Hey, Paul, Paul. Am I correct? You're an attorney, aren't you? Iris, my love. How are you, my Iris? Iris, I would like to tell you that the micro today got mad at her sibling and threw her crock and then goes, I know it's not a chocolate, it's as close as I could find. Great. 6-year-old throwing chocolate now. It'll go well. That'll go well. Mhm. Hey, Paul. Paul, if I would you like a link to come join us for this discussion? Because I'd actually really like to hear your opinion on this. Would you like to join us? Because this has some big implications possibly in the law world. So if you'd like to join me, I would gladly send you the link. But yes, Iris, she's throwing a. Oh, okay, Paul. Well, you'll have to let me know when you would like to join sometime. I don't know if you've already heard about this Supreme Court ruling. So we are gonna go with the Supreme Court rule. Ha ha ha! Fun. Okay. Who missed Who missed dealing with Loki during the 6-week trial all day, every day? Croc? Croc, did you miss it?
What? Miss what?
Gavel to gavel trial streams. Did you miss them? No, Paul. I'm serious. When you hear this, I don't know if you've heard about the ruling that I'm going to cover tonight. I'd actually really like your opinion on it because it's a slippery slope ruling, in my opinion. I mean, you'll see. But I really would like your opinion. So if you'd ever love to join me for it and to discuss gun laws, please, just let me know. Send me an email. You let me know. Yes, Iris. Iris. Last one was fucking Miss Yada Yada Yada. I think I threatened Creed that if he didn't stop doing yada yada yada, I was gonna come to Croatia or wherever he was and drown him. Hmm. I was not happy. No. Are
That
you
was
ready?
yeah. That was our last kit. That was the last. Yeah.
Oh no, this one's right. This one is so in my alley. I can't wait. I have been following this for 2 years, and now everybody has to listen to what I have to say. Haha. But yes, Iris,
Uh-huh.
someone's wearing pink Crocs because she couldn't find a chocolate to throw. Why in my house is this happening? Literally, small angry people. So, what else is new, my dear Croc, my love?
Um, food.
Food is good.
Food is up the moment.
Okay. Well, you eat.
And so
I'll
put
mute
some
you
of
for
that
a
away.
second. I'll mute you for a second. You get your food and you come back, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, okay, ready to talk? We're gonna talk. Let's talk. Time to talk. Okay. Yes, I have had far too much caffeine. Far too much of it. So, hi Cynthia. Are you back? Wait, I gotta say hi to everybody first. Hold on. Don't want to forget. Don't forget. Paul, I'm so interested to hear your stuff. Hey, Pokey. Hi, Papa, my lovey. Papa, I'm so excited to see you. Actually, Papa, I have to talk to you about something at some point. I'll give you a call. And we have my cootie ridden croc. Cynthia Carenshaw, my darling, how are you? Sandy, I'm so glad to hear about your new car. Well, your new lift thing. That's awesome. Let's see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't see a Thomas or anybody. I see a Mayor McWrench. We love you, Mayor Wrench. Pokey, you can be sleepy. I've had unholy amounts of caffeine today. Uh, my caffeine should get everybody through it right now at this point. Already should have had a pause. Let me make sure I've got everybody. Come on. Okay, we're good. Okay, so let's travel back a little bit. Let's get a little bit of a timeline here, right? So let me pull it up real quick. I can't spell right now. We are going to bring. I'm going to bring this one up first, right? So everybody, November 30th, 2021, which should have been a great day for me. We'll unmute Croc. I don't know if he can unmute. Okay. Mayor, I'll get back to you. So November 30th, 2021 should have been a great day because that's my birthday. It was not, in fact, a great day. As you will all remember, that is the day Ethan Crumbly decided to go into his school in Michigan and perpetrate a mass shooting, right? Nope. Jerry, no. Jerry, I'm going to hide this. Don't make me delete it. Jerry, we're not talking about it. Jerry, you got to wait till we get there. No ruining things. Jerry, no. No ruining this. So, Jerry's getting yelled at already. I know. Jerry, we are not ruining this right now. I got to go through the whole ruling. Give me a minute. Hi, Linda Hill. So, you know I love you, Jerry. Jerry, you know I love you, but I'm just saying. So, the big deal with the Oxford shooting in Michigan was that they knew about this, right? Mom and Dad bought the firearm, and on social media, they said this was purchased for him for his birthday or Christmas present. You know, the mom had a picture up in doing the FFL transfer. I know, Jerry, I love you. I'm just saying. Well, Jerry was going to spoil things. I was not letting that happen right now. But your mom had a picture up on Instagram, and it's tagged, you know, my boy's first gun. You know, on top of it, you know, there have been several calls of late, and even up to the day before and that morning, where the teacher had caught Ethan drawing pictures of perpetrating a shooting. He had written on some online, I don't know, I would say it would have been like MySpace when I was that age, whatever. But, you know, he'd written somewhere that like, it's got to be a pretty popular white girl so with a bright future so that she makes the front page of things. I'm going to live in infamy. Like, this kid is cracked in the head. So that morning, if you all remember, the teacher sees this paper and this drawing, and it's a very graphic depiction, and is like, no, and drags him down to the office. And they call the parents. And the parents say, yeah, we're not coming to pick him up. He's your problem right now. He's fine. And they let him go back to class. They don't search his backpack where the gun was. We don't search backpack. We let him go back to class because we're smart. Why not? And not very. I think it was about an hour later. Shots ring out, right? Now, while shots are ringing out, and it is making the news that there was a shooting at the Oxford High School, his mother is texting him with, "Ethan, no, don't do it." His father tries to call him. So when it all washes out, the parents try to say, well, we talked to the counselor and they wanted us to, and the counselor didn't say you have to take him home. You know, they gave us a date and they said, hey, you have to give us proof he's in mental health treatment by this date. Not take him home now. And they tried to put it on the school, you know, and I'm sorry, in my opinion, the school does bear some of the burden. They didn't search the backpack. You had a credible threat. He is writing about it. You don't search the backpack, and when the parents are like, no, we're not coming to get him, you don't send him home with the school resource, like something, you know, you can call somebody else. Like, you can get other services involved. Being like, yeah, well, mom and dad said no. The parents then try to claim that we have no clue that it was him. We had no idea. Then what? Please, pray tell, why are you texting him Croc, I'm going to mute you for a second just because I can hear your background noise real loud. Hey, V. McWilliams. You know, you look at mom and you're like, well, if you had no idea that this is your kid, why would you text him, no, Ethan, don't do it? Right? That wouldn't be a thought in your head. You know, dad rushed home to go look for the gun. And then dad calls 911. Are you done with the loud crinkles, Croc? Sorry. Then dad rushes home.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Realizes the gun's gone, calls 911 and says, I think it's my kid. No shit, Sherlock. Your wife's already been texting him. You know, so what happens? Police go to talk to mom and dad and they're gone. Mom and dad flee the state.
Oh, crap.
They go to a friend's or the area. They're in a friend's artist loft. They get arrested. They try to arrest the person that owns the property. And he's like, I had no clue what happened. Like, I didn't know why they were showing up. You can't prove that. So that gets dropped. But then here's where the big controversy comes in.
They tried to arrest the landlord? Wow.
No, not the landlord. Mom and dad fled to a friend's loft. He's an artist and had a loft above a studio. And for harboring a fugitive. They tried to go out, and he's like, I had no clue what happened. Like, I didn't know they were a fugitive. You know, this was not, leave me out of it. Keep my name out your mouth kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets out of it. And then they charge the parents with involuntary manslaughter. And there's talk that they're going to charge the parents with murder as a party to the crime. Oh, Paul, yeah, they knew they were in trouble. You know you're in trouble when the mom is texting the kid in the middle. Hey, Cool Frog. The mom is texting the kid during the shooting. No, Ethan, don't. You don't have to do this. Like, I would not text my child that if I did not think that he was the one committing a school shooting. You know, dad runs home to look for the one specific gun. He knows. Like, they know, okay? Everybody knows. And you know, I'm faulting everybody in all this. This whole thing was stupid. But whatever. You know, the landlord, friend of the family gets out. So then we have a problem. We have now charged 14-year-old at the time, Ethan Crumbly. The kid is very obviously mentally ill when you look at his stuff. And they have charged his parents. And then there came the moment. And I remember when this happened, I had a stream on this. And I said, this is going to be a big deal because this is the first time a prosecutor has tried to hold the parents or the legal owner of the firearm responsible for a mass school shooting or a public or whatever, a crime that their child committed. And there was a whole lot of back and forth about it. And
well, laws have been on the books for a long time now.
What?
Somebody apparently remembered that they exist.
Yeah, well, no. I'll explain why this has not been as long of a thing as you think. But hold on. So this whole thing's happening, right? What does the prosecution do? And this literally, as soon as I saw the prosecution do this, I was like, the parents are screwed. They pled out the shooter. Paul, I will get to that, Sea Island. I will address that in 1 second. So this thing hasn't, like, it was really close to when Marin, I think she was busy with work when I talked to her last. But here's the thing. It was really close to the shooting. Like, we hadn't even finished a forensic psychology, like psych eval or anything, right? They pled the kid out. And I said, they pled the kid out because they're going after the parents hardcore. They are pleading the kid out so he can testify against his parents. And can't hide behind his Fifth Amendment rights. And I know we talked about it because I was like, damn, your kid pled out So,
Just-
here's the discussion. Sounds like, was it a straw purchase? Technically, it was not a straw purchase. I understand why people were calling that, but that's a very specific transaction. What it was is mom bought the gun saying this is your Christmas present, but I own it. And a lot of people were like, well, what kind of parent would buy their kid a gun? That's a straw purchase. You're buying it for someone that can't possess it. Not really, because it's not like it's not like a kid came to you and said, I can't own the gun, buy the thing for me and give it to me, which is what a straw man purchase would be, kind of thing. My dad bought me many weapons. Yeah, Paul, that's what I'm saying. I've been a competitive shooter since I was 10. I've been shooting. My dad bought many weapons for me, but I didn't have access to them without him, right? They were in a safe I couldn't get into. So there's two different, lenses. Now, here's the problem. The gun was not, in fact, locked up, right? The dad tried to say it was in a lockbox in his dresser drawer or something, nightstand. Dad's trying to claim it was kind of locked up. Obviously not, and he had it. Dad had to go back to the house and look at his nightstand to see if it was still there, so you obviously knew the kid had access to it. Because my dad would have never been like, oh, maybe she got one of the guns and shot somebody. I couldn't have gotten into the safe. And the parents tried to hide behind it and say, we had it locked up. It wasn't actually his gun. We took him to the range so he could learn to shoot with it. And they tried to, and run around this. And they have, the hearing in front of a judge in Michigan in circuit court to see if we can bind this over. And they have enough to bind it over for trial. So what do the parents do? They appeal. So this is why it's taken so long. They appealed to the circuit. The circuit denied their appeal and said, no, you can stand trial. There's enough to bind you over. And we find, it's a low bar. People forget it's a fairly low bar to bind somebody over for trial on charges. It is much harder to get them found guilty because it goes from, do you have enough evidence to kind of be like, yeah, reasonably, there's a reasonable, not suspicion, but like there's reasonable belief that they did this. Just over 50%. You're going from that to 99.99. So it's really easy to bind someone over, kind of thing. So what did the Crumbly parents do? They took it to the Supreme Court of Michigan. This has gone through several appeals, but the final appeal was to the Michigan Supreme Court. And earlier this year, I went over the oral arguments to the judges. I went over the oral argument. We went through all of this, and nobody had an answer because after oral arguments, Creed, they can't actually appeal on this aspect anymore. This was a final appeal for this particular reasoning. No,
once you've been convicted, it's much more difficult to get an appeal through.
But regardless, like Creed saying this is a pre-appeal. No, they've exhausted the appellate routes they have to take this to trial. It's not something that's going to be taken up by SCOTUS or anything. So this has gone and they have officially ruled. So here we go. This was ruled this morning. Well, sorry, Friday. But it didn't really come out until like yesterday. But they also ruled 5 days ago, that he's gonna, LWOP, life without parole. Here's the problem. He's a minor, so you can't LWOP him. There has to be you can't LWOP this because it's been ruled that you can't do it on a minor. A minor has to have some chance. But here we go. Let's pull this up real quick. And Paul, you'll see why. And this is why I said, Paul, I want your input. But here we go. So here we go. Let me. This is October 3rd. It was ruled, so yesterday. The parents of a teenager who killed 4 students at Michigan's Oxford High School lost the appeal Tuesday and will face trial on involuntary manslaughter charges, a rare case of prosecutors attempting to pin some responsibility for a school shooting on the perpetrator's family. James and Jennifer Crumbly are accused of making a gun accessible to Ethan Crumbly and ignoring his mental health needs. The state appellate court said in March the couple could face trial, and then the Michigan Supreme Court let that decision stand in a one-sentence order. Prosecutors in suburban Detroit had to show only that there was probable cause to put the parents on trial, a low threshold. The appeals court noted that an Oakland County jury will hear a more expansive case from all sides. The shooter killed 4. Ethan Crumbly pled guilty to terrorism and murder. A judge last week said he's eligible for LWOP, life without parole. Attorneys for the parents insist the school shooting was not foreseeable. They acknowledge bad decisions were made, but not ones that should rise to involuntary manslaughter, which carries a maximum sentence of 15 years. The teen and his parents met with school staff the day of the shooting after a teacher noticed violent drawings, but nobody searched his stuff for a gun. He was allowed to stay. 17-year-old who was 15 at the time of the shooting will be sentenced December 8th. The judge will have the option of giving him a prison term that would make him eligible for parole in the decades ahead. The Crumbly parents have been in custody since shortly after the shooting, unable to afford a $500,000 bond each. Their son is in the same jail. They have no contact. Defense lawyers declined to comment on the Supreme Court order because of a gag order. So, here's the thing. The kid is going to testify against his parents. Paul, he could have been. See, Paul, here's the thing. It's really, the parents are going to be in big trouble. There are too many anti-gun people out there. But here's the other thing, Paul. Hey, Redneck Dad. Here's the problem. He could have been tried as an adult. They pled. He was 14 at the time, Iris. He is voluntarily going to be.
Was he 14?
He was 14 when it was committed, I believe. I'm almost positive. Let me see. Okay, he had just turned 15 very recently. But he was a kid. Here's the thing. They pled him out. Paul, each parent had got $500,000. Iris, they don't have to make him well, they can make him testify. They can put him, they can order him with a subpoena. That's why they pled him out. They pled him out so that he would not be able to say, I'm asserting a Fifth Amendment right. They pled him out so that the only thing would be sentencing. They pled him out so they could get him to testify against the parents. Here's the thing. He has spoken out about his parents. His parent, he said, there was no lock on the gun. The gun was just sitting in my dad's in the dresser drawer. There was no lock. It was not in a box. I could take it anytime I wanted. So, hey, the gun wrangler Smith. So, and that's why I said, Paul, I wanted your opinion. It's going to be very interesting because you are, as you're expanding this nexus, right? It starts to become nebulous, right? As you take this nexus and you make it nebulous. So now you're saying the parents are guilty. In this situation, yeah, I mean, they didn't lock the weapon up. They knew. They knew he had mental health issues. They didn't get him help. They gave him the gun. They left it someplace where it wasn't locked up. And obviously that day they were like, we're too busy to come pick him up at school. 2 hours before he perpetrated the shooting. They were too busy for him. You know,
and going to go get him as recommended by the counselor would have prevented this.
mm-hmm.
At least
So,
that.
you know, it also would have also been a problem where you know, you also have this problem where, okay, so they made this weapon, they made it accessible. But you can also say, well, why did the school, who had valid legal grounds to search his backpack?
Why did they not?
Nobody searched it. Yeah, Paul, so, hold on, Iris, I'll get there 1 second. He quote unquote took the gun, but it wasn't a neighbor's gun. And the way they kind of got around that they quote unquote that he stole it from dad, the mother had Facebook posts and Instagram posts of them at the range with him that said, bought my baby his first gun, taking my baby to the parents said it was his gun in all these pictures. So then you have this argument. If they really bought it for him, and they're saying in posts and social media and in things they bought it for him, it was his Christmas present. Is it theft? If they bought it, and why? And Michigan has a law that says you have to lock it up. They didn't lock it up. It wasn't locked. It wasn't in a safe. It and ammunition were in a drawer that was readily accessible, which is against the law in Michigan. And, that's where the problem is. Actually, Jerry, that's not true. In many states, you will be charged if a minor or somebody takes your drugs and then somebody ODs, or the kid gives it. It has to do with, it falls under the child abuse and neglect statutes. So in most states, there actually are charges for that. I've gone to court many times with it. So, here's the thing. Oh, okay, Jerry. Well, Jerry, too much caffeine. But, hey, yeah, they're gonna argue it, but you didn't lock up this gun, right? They didn't search the backpack. And someone said, how did they know? Where was this? How did you know? Oh, here, see, Alan. He had pictures on his social media too of him with the gun. He wrote on a piece of paper and drew a picture that said, I'm going to go shoot these people. This is the kind of people I'm going to shoot. And he wrote it down. All it takes is 5 minutes to look in his backpack. He literally put it in writing. I do agree with you there. I wholeheartedly agree that they are responsible. But here's where I'm torn. I think they are responsible because you did nothing. Unlike when my dad bought guns for me. I'll get you 1 second. My dad bought them. They were in his name, and I couldn't get to them without him present. They didn't just leave it. Yeah, he is going to testify, GM. Okay, that's why they pled him out. That's when this case happened, and they said they were pleading the kid out. I said they are pleading him out so he can't hide by the Fifth Amendment. They're going to put him on the stand. So, how many schools pay attention to the student's social media? See, Alan, that is not the problem. He wrote it down. There had been several instances where he put it in writing. He said, "This is what I am going to do." Okay. And then people brought it to the school. Other kids, teachers, you know, people brought it to the school's attention. He is threatening to perpetrate a school shooting. He says he has a gun. He says this is who he's going to do it. Yeah, he had a manifesto. But not only did he have a manifesto, he had stuff with him. He was drawing pictures in class. So the school damn well knew, because it had been brought up to him. This was not like, oh, he's a good kid, he never got in trouble. There was never any discussion about him having psychological issues. I mean, this kid had been in trouble. Yeah, Jerry, the parents were called to the school. And then they very promptly said, yeah, we're not taking him home. We're going back to work. They were there. They got called into a conference. They were told to take him home. They said, yeah, no, we're going to work. We have stuff to do. The principal's like, well, by this date, he needs to have, we need proof of mental health. And the parents are like, well, if you really thought it was that bad, you'd have, forced us to take him. But nobody. The parents were there. The parents know they own a weapon. They don't look in his bag. They don't ask him if he has it. The first indication of anything is there's a shooting now, and mom sends him a text message that says, don't do it.
Because mom already knew that
because mom knows. You don't send a text message to your kid that says, don't do it, if you think there's no chance your child has that gun. Dad went home to double check and see if it was still there. Not a great thing. But and this is what I said to Paul. Yeah, parents have to pay when the kid breaks a window. They're not going to skate when it's more serious. I don't think they should either. But that's my point. Yeah, Paul, that's what's damning. Mom is texting him saying, no, don't do it. You don't, and Dad's going to look to double check where that gun is, and oh shit, it's gone. C. Allen, the school did know. He said he had it in the manifesto. Other students had brought their concerns to the administration with pictures of the social media post of him with the gun that says, I bought my baby this for Christmas, and has the minor shooting a gun at a range. No, C. Allen, searching it is not wrong. Couldn't have been a lawsuit because of the state law, and especially they're in loco parentis, and they reserve the right to search any lockers, backpacks. It is in all schools' rights. You're in the building, your stuff's in the building, they can search it. They have to get a search warrant if it's in your car in the parking lot.
That would be different.
But that's what I'm saying. But if you're in the building, they can search anything. They can search lockers, backpacks, anything. They only need to go get a subpoena if it's like in your car in the parking lot. But, you have mom and dad saying, like, texting him. They know something's up. But here's the thing, and Iris, where'd you say? You said you know somebody that has the opposite opinion. Where is it? An attorney with the opposite opinion. He's going to be in court with the cameras. Yeah, I'll debate it with him anytime, Iris. Let me know. Just give him my stuff.
Oh, I've had my locker and backpack searched. That goes back into the 80s.
Yeah, but I mean, Iris, you'll have to tell me what you mean that he's the opposite opinion. Here's the thing. I agree that the parents are responsible in this case. Where I have a concern, and Paul, that's why I said I wanted your opinion. Where are we going to draw a line? As you take a case and make it slightly more nebulous, like, yeah, everybody wants somebody to pay for this. And in this specific case, the parents need to pay. But then you also have to look at the implications when you take a case like this. How is it going to be applied as case law precedent in the future? Are we going to hold the school, the administration, the superintendent. Like, you have to, like, where is this line? Which is the problem. Oh, sure, I would have a good respectful debate.
Making the schools
My thing, right? And see, Paul, that's my thing. I think they
making
do.
the schools responsible for these.
No. But here's the thing. Like, hold on. Yeah, Iris, I'm all up for the debate. You like give him my stuff, you have my stuff. But yeah, Paul, that's what I'm saying. It's going to open floodgates by setting a precedent, and this is going to become a case law issue. And here's the thing. In this specific case, I think the parents are responsible. You knew he had mental health issues. You bought a gun and you put in writing that it was his. It was for him. You took him shooting, and then you left it with ammunition in a drawer, and it was not secure. Michigan's law states you have to secure it, and it can't be readily accessible to a minor. It was. And they pled him out, and he has already said, yes, they let it, it was readily accessible. No, it was not locked up. But, I do see the other point of like, oh, well, you don't know what your kids are going to do with it. You're a parent, you bought a gun, lock it up. Your kid should not have had access to it. If he legitimately stole the gun, got into a safe, you had locked it up, and he somehow got around that. He took it from a friend, whatever. There's where my issue, you know what I mean? Then I would be like, okay, well, you had no way to know. The parents knew. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. Okay, hold on. Open the floodgates. We need more laws specifically imposing criminal liability on gun owners that are reckless with safeguarding their guns. GMK, there are a lot of laws. The problem becomes proving some of them. Let's see. C. Allen. Case I'm more familiar with the Highland Park shooter. They're looking into the shooter's father and the gun shop that sold it, in which a gun shop only did the transfer and bought it online. I would have to look at some of the details of it. Yeah, Paul, the parents absolutely knew. Completely knew. You don't post something on social media saying, I bought this gun for my kid, and then, me as a mom, if I hear there's a shooting at my kid's school, I am not sending a text message to my child that says, don't do it. You don't have to do it. The fact that you sent a text message, not are you okay, not what happened, not oh my God. Your text to your child was, don't do it. I'm gonna say that shows me you knew something was up, Buttercup. Just saying, something's up, Buttercup, because you don't send that text without that. Thomas in loco parentis applies because they could have searched his stuff. They could have looked at the letter and searched his stuff. They would have found the gun. And then, in effect, where the parents said we're not going to take him home, they could have called the police and had him taken for a mental health evaluation based on what he wrote and did, which they didn't do. And that's where the in loco parentis would apply.
48-hour cycle.
72 hours. 72-hour hold. And then on top of that, the parents run. The parents knew, okay? The parents don't know. Hold on. Seem to be ignorant of the issue, but if parents knew of mental health issues, Philip, nothing. Very little. To the point that the school said, look, if you are leaving him here and he's going to stay in school, you need to give me proof that he has had a mental health evaluation. In my opinion, the school should have sent his ass for mental health examination right there and then. Like, no, we're not leaving it up to the parents. The parents did not show great decision-making behavior at any point in this. Literally, my 6-year-old has better decision-making skills, and that is sad. She threw a crock at her sibling and because she couldn't find a flip-flop. Even she thought about it first. So I'm just saying. But Philip, that's part of the reason they're going after the parents. They are saying you gave a child with mental health issues a gun and left a gun with ammunition unsecured where he could get to it, and you had been made aware repeatedly that he had a manifesto that said one of the people I kill must be a pretty white girl with a bright future so that it makes the news. I mean, I read that manifesto. It's cracked. This kid, he had, mental health was an understatement. Hold on. Hey, Navy Tex, I'll get you in a minute. Hey, Suzanne. Hi, darling. Okay, let's see. Paul. Question I have is this. They're going to go back and now charge the parents for these other school shootings. See, Paul, that's my point. Right? You're not. I don't think they're going to be able to retroactively do a lot.
No, they won't.
Especially since, in some of the cases, almost every other case has already gone to trial, and we've had other issues. But my issue. Hey, Katie said, my issue is, Nicholas Cruz was in legal possession of those weapons. The Sandy Hook shooter legally possessed the weapons. And that's a whole other ball of this. But this is a minor who took it, and the parents bought it for him. But this is a precedent that is going... Katie said, we are talking about the Crumbly parents, if you'd like to jump on. The Michigan Supreme Court today denied their appeal and upheld the decision that Jennifer and James Crumbly, the parents to Ethan Crumbly, who perpetrated the Oxford, Michigan school shooting on November 30th, 2021, are going to be standing trial for involuntary manslaughter because they provided the weapon to their child. Katie's up. That's what we're talking about. Hold on. Let me see who else I miss. GMK, our gun law should be closer to Israel's. Israel has some interesting gun laws. I have citizenship there. But that's a whole other countries. Does Michigan have a red flag law? I would have to look specifically. See, Alan, a lot of the red flag laws have been ruled unconstitutional, but it wouldn't have helped. Let's see. Both the parents and the school dropped the ball. Yes, Philip. Paul, how did the school not have anything prior to this incident? Oh, they did. Paul, they did. They said, hey, your kid is doing this. And they were like, yeah, okay. They even had their parents there that morning. They were like, yeah, he's fine. We're not taking him home. So the school knew. The teacher actually had apparently taken pictures of the things and taken it to the administration and been like, hey, and the administration was just like, F it. They're just as culpable. Everybody done dropped this ball. This was literally, Katie Zed, you can jump on. Katie Zed, you're in my Discord, aren't you? Hold on one second. The school did, and that's where I take issue with some of this, right? The school knew that it had been made. Hey, Erica. It had been they knew. Katie Zed, I just sent it to you on Discord. The school knew. Had the school searched his backpack 2 hours before the school shooting, it wouldn't have happened. They didn't. Yeah, it was a Jerry. Someone needed to mental health act him. Hold on. Hey, Navy Tex, I see everybody. Sandy, I already answered KZ. Hey, Erica. Erica, I'm almost done with that paperwork I have for you. Parson, yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of the states that have red flag laws, they've been ruled unconstitutional. C. Allen, yeah, the Sandy Hook shooter did kill the mother and take the AR, but there was one other weapon that he would have been able to legally possess. The mom had a bunch of them. That's why he had more than, but he was not 14 or 15 where there's nowhere that he could have gotten it, kind of thing. Let's see. Parson, don't stalk Erica. We love Erica. Yeah, no, Paul, the school is responsible and should be accountable. Hey, Darth. Let's see. Yeah, Erica, I sent her the link to jump in. Hold on. The parents went on the run. Yep, Parson, I addressed that. So what happened is the parents went and they hid, and then they were pulled out, and they actually tried to charge the guy where they found the parents with harboring a fugitive, but he was able to prove like he had no idea. Let's see. Yep, the Oxford school shooting. Depends on what the red flags are. Yes, maybe the school was negligent or screwed up, but I think we're talking about criminal liability for the gun owners or the custodian. GMK, here's the problem. The school is just as liable to a degree. Why? You knew and were given, and you saw pictures and people had brought this to you over and over, and you were like, okay, well, get a mental help in the next 2 weeks. No. Now. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, it depends on what the red flag is. If they're ruled unconstitutional, that's fine. It's not up to Roscoe to decide. Oh, no, Parson Bay. I do not disagree with you. Hey, Molinaho. Some red flag laws go too far and can be unconstitutional. There are some that I completely agree with. Yeah, why did you run if you did nothing wrong? Their argument was that once it was revealed who the school shooter was, they were concerned that they were going to get hate. Hold on. Hello, lovely Katie Zed.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I can only stay on it for a few minutes because I
that's
gotta go
fine.
to sleep. But this case, I'm telling you what, I'm so mad.
I've been following it since the beginning.
Me too. Well, anybody who's like owns guns has been following this case because, and not only that, you can buy your kids guns as long as you supervise them, right?
And that's right. And that's what I said. I've been a competitive shooter since I was like 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get to the guns. My dad had them in a safe that I couldn't get into.
Yeah.
I didn't leave, my dad did not leave a gun with ammunition in the top drawer to hey, just, and then the parents know he's culpable because the moms, you have kids, the first text message is don't do this.
Yeah.
That's not the text I'm sending my kid. I'm going to send my mother, my kid, a text that's like, the fuck, are you okay? Don't do it.
Well, the school was so nonchalant when they found.
Oh, I love that one.
I can't remember exactly the details of the case because I haven't thought about it since
drawing. He had a drawing and a picture and a diagram, and he's like, it has to be a pretty white girl with a bright future.
And they counseled him and his parents, and instead of immediately searching his bag or his locker or whatever, they just let him go back to class.
Well, yeah, he was not
the school
searched.
Knew what was up. Yeah,
and he was not searched. And that was my point. I think you heard me. That the school was like, you have 2 weeks to give us proof that he's had psych help. No, you can stand in loco parentis while he is there, and in loco parentis sentence, I asked for the 72-hour evaluation. I am sorry.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I don't know if you've seen some of my streams. School shootings are a big deal to me. I mean, they're a big deal to everybody. But I have personally worked 2 of them
Okay.
as
Yeah.
public safety. I have been there for them. I was at the Amish school shooting,
Hmm.
and I was the first paramedic on scene. And then I was at the Franklin High School mass school stabbing. I have
Wow.
worked both of them in my career. Never thought I'd see it once. I was a freshman in high school when Columbine happened. I
Yeah.
never thought I would be the, public safety professional having to
They,
deal with this.
the
And
schools
now
need
I've
to
had
take
2.
this seriously. Like any sort of threat needs to be taken extremely seriously.
Right.
And they didn't in this case. And then they're trying to blame the parents because the parents were trying to teach the kid gun safety because
No,
there
they
were
weren't.
guns in the house.
No, they weren't. Not in this one. This one, the
Well,
parents didn't give a flying.
the-
The Facebook post from the mom said, "Bought my baby this gun for Christmas."
From what I understood, the dad took him to the range and taught him how to shoot and things like that. Not
They
just
no,
have
they took
guns around without teaching him anything about it.
no, they took him to the range to shoot. Mom's the one that took him to the range for a few times, but they said the gun was for him. They
Yeah.
said the parents left it someplace, and they pled him out, so he
Mhm.
can't hide behind. He has said the gun was not secured in any way, and Dad told him where it was. He had free open access. You lose that argument, like
Yeah.
you lose the argument of like parents are trying to teach gun safety. No, then you lock a gun up in a safe. It's not sitting in your dresser drawer with ammunition, and it's not his gun. You don't take your teenager with mental health issues
That's
to
the
the gun
thing.
range.
The mental health issues is the thing.
Like on top of it.
Yeah.
And then when you have been told repeatedly,
I 100% think you should take your teenagers to the range and teach them how to shoot and gun safety.
well, no, I agree with
That's
that.
just me.
My little ones, I actually, there was a video, my kids actually, well, my little one knows how to disarm someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm married to a retired first sergeant from the Marine Corps. I'm a competitive shooter. My whole channel's about guns.
Yeah.
And I said the other night, you don't child-proof guns, you gun-proof your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. My kids
Yep.
won't touch them. I don't allow my kids to shoot each other with Nerf guns. I don't allow paintball guns or anything that looks like a replica, because if you let them treat some like a toy, then they pick up the wrong one that's not a toy and all of this. But these
Well, it
parents-
depends on the age too. If they're in high school, like this kid was in
I'm
high
not
school.
talking about high school,
Yeah.
but like I have
Little
6
kids for
girls.
sure. Yeah.
But I'm talking like when you're talking about 10-year-olds, 11-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Right, like that they're thinking with the most clear mind. No. Like they're not paying any attention to that. They're spending their time on Call of Duty. But the parents didn't care. Like, if you as a parent, if you got called into school and they're like, "Hey, your kid said he's gonna kill all these people," would you have been like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna leave him here. I got shit to do today"? No,
Absolutely not. But I
Well,
also don't think that they should be charged. I really don't.
So,
They did not send that kid to school to shoot up the school.
They didn't. But if you read the law in Michigan, and this is what the Supreme Court, when it ruled on this, I will, Navy. This is, this is a case where you look at the law, and the law says if you leave a gun accessible to a minor, you are guilty.
You're responsible for whatever they did with it.
And it's state law. The law said, the law in Michigan says
That's the law.
involuntary manslaughter. You left a firearm accessible to a child. Anything they do with it is now
Well,
your fault.
And they also knew that their kid had mental health issues because the
Yeah.
school, if they couldn't see it with their own eyes, the school brought it to their attention.
He had a manifesto at home. He had sent them text messages. He asked his parents for help at one point, and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The parents.
I just
literally
remember the
left
one
it.
part of this case I remember is like, I guess the kid was looking at ammo on his phone and the mom's like, well, just don't get caught doing that.
Oh yeah. That was after the school. He
Yeah.
got caught looking at ammo in school the day before.
Yeah.
The day before the shooting, he's looking up ammo. Mom gets a phone call. Where's the puppy? Everyone wants to know where Xena is, so they can get her biscuits. Apparently, sorry. Yeah, Erica, the parents ignored him.
come on. They want to say hi. Come on. Come on. There she is.
There you guys go.
There's
Everybody
Dina.
found Cena. But she's like, why?
She was already in bed. She was asleep. I woke her up for this. I know. I'm coming soon. All right, hop down. Thank
But
you.
But it's like you got busted with the don't let them catch you by and looking at ammunition. The next day she takes the gun to school. You cannot say that you did not know.
Yeah.
But like we've got no. This is not deniable here, people. We have lost plausible deniability a long time ago.
How old was this kid?
15 just turned.
All right. Yeah, 15's kind of.
He had
Maybe
just
I don't know all the facts to this case. I was
Uh,
thinking he was like 17.
No. He's 17 now.
Gotcha. Okay.
He had just turned 15. But they had his
I,
manifesto.
I'm just saying, if my 17-year-old, and
Yeah,
also when like
It's not a
my kids
17-year-old,
were
though.
17, they didn't have mental health issues. But if they were caught looking at ammo online at school, I might have said the same thing. Like, what are you doing? Don't do that
Okay,
at school. Don't
But
get caught.
if your kid
You
was
know what I mean?
if your kid was 14, what
Yeah,
would you have
no.
said?
No.
Yeah. Hello.
You know,
Yeah,
14,
that's about the time I
15-year-olds
go,
are like,
okay,
hell no.
you know what?
There's a big difference between 15 and 17 for
There's
boys.
a
I'm
huge
sorry.
difference for boys and girls. There's
Yeah.
a reason why 18 we consider people adults at 18, because the maturity, the difference between a freshman in high school and a senior in
yeah.
high school is huge.
Oh yeah.
Immense.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's just insane because the parents, like, and on top of it, why did nobody search this backpack?
Exactly.
And here's my other point. And here's where everyone's like, well, I don't know if the parents should be guilty. To me, the parents show mens rea of this because the dad's first instinct was to drive home and look for the gun. The dad's first instinct upon being told a shooting has taken place at your child's school is to drive to the house, go look for the gun, and then call 911 and go, hey, so I think my kid has the gun there.
Yeah.
The mom is sending him text messages. Don't do it. Mens rea is right there.
What are the parents' charges? Are they-
Involuntary manslaughter for Jennifer and
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this law. I'm torn. It's just like I'm torn on the death penalty. I'm kind of torn on this one, you know?
Well, I don't think Michigan has death penalty. I think involuntary manslaughter is 15 years.
I'm just saying in general,
no,
in
They have-
general, I go
there's a-
back and forth in my head on whether I agree with the death penalty or not. And I'm kind of torn on this one at the moment.
there's a 15-year but you have to remember, there's a 15-year max on this case. And that's what I said. I'm kind of torn. And I told Iris I would debate the other person that thinks that parents aren't responsible. My issue with it is it's a slippery slope to me, because when you start adding responsibility for other people's actions, this becomes nebulous very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Very
that's where my head was going immediately. Is like,
but
I don't know how you.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, this becomes nebulous. This becomes a slippery slope. Where are we drawing the line at how, what degree of separation do you still have responsibility? And that's why I said to Paul, and that's what I have, that's why I brought this up, and I've been watching this, and I'm like, look, here's the thing. It could have been this is case specific, yes, and it could have been prevented. But even though this is case specific, you do true crime. You know that this is going to kick a hornet's nest open, because now you have a precedent and case law. Iris, he was sentenced to life without. He was sentenced on Friday. The kid was sentenced. He's doing life. So they're all.
See, that's another thing I'm not sure I agree with. If a 15-year-old commits a heinous crime, I don't know if life. I don't know. I think they should get life in prison either. I think they should have a possibility of parole if they're 15.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled LWOP, like the life without parole, is not constitutional for a minor.
Yeah.
Certain states will still, that they charge him as adult, they'll still charge him life and say your sentence is life without parole. Ultimately, they end up getting a parole review hearing because the constitutionality, thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that's what'll happen.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I agree with that one. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, don't let him out in 15 years. Don't get me wrong.
No,
Like, but
no,
when he's
no, I
an
agree, but
old
when he's
man, like when he's 55 or 60, you know.
right, and I read the manifesto. It's been made, a lot of his manifesto, a lot of his stuff.
Mhm.
He is very clearly mentally ill.
Yeah.
This kid needs lithium. Like, I would, he is, if you start looking at like the, cluster A, B personality disorders, I mean, you are looking at schizophrenia, persecution, conduct disorder. I mean, this kid is ticking off the mental health boxes.
Had he ever had mental health help before?
I think
So, I mean,
he had asked for it. His parents knew he needed it, and they wanted nothing to do with it.
yeah, they needed to. I mean, they should get charged with neglect first of all, like, because
But I
this
think
all
that's-
could have been prevented with medication. You
But
know.
that's the thing. I think some of it
Mhm.
is that, my issue is the school says to the parents, hey, you have 2 weeks to get a mental health. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like, no, all the no. You need to go have that 72-hour psych eval right now.
Was the gun in the parents' possession, or was it did the kid have the gun like in his room, like
The
under
kid
his bed?
got it out of his dad's dresser drawer. It was in the room next to him in a top dresser drawer, unsecured with ammunition.
And where he knew where it was, obviously.
Yes. And
Not like it was hidden somewhere and the kid went and snooped and found it. The kid
right,
knew where
and
it was
that's the thing.
stored.
And it wasn't locked up. There was no trigger lock. There was nothing. And the parents tried to say like, oh, we locked it up. It wasn't really for him. It wasn't whatever. Well, once they pled him out, the kid's like, no, it was there. It wasn't locked up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking of all the
asked for
cases where somebody, like, I can think of at least 2 off the top of my head where a teenager has defended his, like, a home invasion because
Mhm.
he knew where the gun was and was able to fend off criminals coming to attack him or his family.
Jerry,
You
I
know?
know that his fate, quote unquote, remains uncertain with formal sentencing. There's only 2 choices: life with or life without. And since the U.S. Supreme Court said you can't give a minor life without parole, LWOP,
It's life with.
even if they're eligible for it,
Yeah.
you can't. It's not constitutional. So he's going to be there for a very, very long time. But that's what I'm saying. The parents.
He will only get parole if he behaves in prison, and the only way he's going to behave in prison is if he gets the mental health, care
But
that he
here's
needs,
here's
which
the
is
thing.
almost impossible if he's in a regular prison and not in a hospital somewhere.
So he apparently repeatedly asked for help, and his parents didn't get him the mental health help.
Yeah. And when somebody's asking for help, those are the patients who are going to be medication compliant and do what they're supposed to do and go to the therapy and take away from the therapy what's needed. If he's asking for help.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to get that in a regular prison.
It is my understanding that at least the facility he's being held in special custody because of his age.
Yeah, that's good.
So, you can't just toss a 15-year-old in with. So he's being held in special custody, but it's my understanding he's already received
thrown in with regular prisoners.
He's been there for 2 years already.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but they have already, he's already been getting help. The kid is very vocal about wanting medication and help. And his parents, like, I'm sorry, like, if you called me and you tell me, and when I read this manifesto or you listen to the tapes, Katie, you would be horrified at how specific. He literally is like, one of the victims has to be a white girl that has a bright future ahead. I want to hear my victims crying and screaming. I want to hear people, he is like in depth going through this. And you're like, okay, I'm sorry. The lights are on, but not everybody's home here.
Yeah.
When
Well,
you
and
read
Night,
that.
Pokey.
what's killing me is that he wrote this stuff down and he realized it's a problem and asked for help, and nobody helped him. The school didn't help him. His
His-
parents didn't help him. No one helped him.
His teacher, like his teacher, literally took this to the principal. It took Loki has a gun. She knows just how. What are we supposed to do? Nothing. It's Loki. What? I have no idea. You know, my issue is, you know, the things were not searched.
Yeah.
Like the parent, like the school teachers took this to the administration, and you did nothing.
And even that day, they didn't even look in his
And the
bag.
administration went,
I can see you, Erica. We can all see you. Mullen Hall. I'm not sure what you mean by I have a gun. I have lots of guns.
I
that's
have
all.
one on my desk right here because when I have these when I have these on and my husband's not home, if somebody walks in this room, I need to be ready.
yeah, but you don't have small children running around, do you?
No, all of our kids are adults and out of the house. So I'm old.
Yeah.
You don't look the part.
Thank you. I appreciate
don't.
that.
Mind you, I have my own age-related issues.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, unless Xena grows like opposable thumbs, I think we're fine.
actually, I did cover not long ago.
I did. I
a
covered that
dog
same one.
shot
I covered that
its owner.
same case.
So
I did.
I'm
I
just
covered
going
that
to
same-
point out.
But that guy was an idiot and had his gun like it was in a car, if I remember correctly.
Right, but here's the problem.
There was no safety on it.
Just so you know, I mean, like, here's the problem. That's not the only case. There was like 25 other ones that I found where the dogs have shot.
Shut your mouth! Really?
Yeah, there's
I'm
like
gonna I'm gonna do a deep dive on. I'm gonna have to have a whole
like
episode.
whole bunch of cases because I was looking into that one and I'm like, what? Like,
Wow.
so many. Oh yeah, there's a fairly like a ridiculous number of people.
How
who
does that
consider
even
animals.
happen?
Um,
Like the only way I can figure is if it's on like a soft surface and the dog's like toe gets stuck in there. I can't even imagine.
I think that's what happened with the one that you and I recently covered.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, so I had this discussion with Boom the other night, who she's not here tonight. I was cleaning. I have a King Cobra in 357 Magnum. It has a 2-pound trigger pull.
Yeah.
And the problem with it is, and she and I showed her, because she was like, I don't, hey Ron, I've gotten her into guns and, for her safety kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what the thing is, if you take this King Cobra, right, and you're holding it and you just put your middle finger through the trigger guard and let go and let the weight of the barrel, because it's big, swing down, the weight of the barrel is enough for it to pull and for it to fire. So it's not that hard if you have something like that has a light trigger pull.
Do you know
that
when
a dog can?
You know when a dog cannot shoot you is when it's in a holster. Like if it's in a holster, that's not going to happen. Especially if it's like a hard, like the Kydex. Yeah, Kydex.
Yeah, the Kydex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, your dog shot you. I'm sorry,
Yep.
you lose. Like, I don't.
Do you hear that, Xena? Dogs for the win.
Yeah, but here's like the funniest thing. Everyone's like, oh, dogs for the win. I can tell you, the one police dog with the one department I work with, this dog is absolutely batshit crazy. Love the dog.
Yeah.
The dog got into a bucket of KFC chicken and biscuits and mashed potatoes one day and then was running around in the back of the car with the bucket stuck on his head.
Oh.
He could because the officer had, gotten out to do something and he got up and got into it and then was stuck with a bucket on his head. And I was just what are we doing? I'm gonna need you to oh, okay, let's rescue that dog. But we
Let's
had
take some video of it first and then rescue it. How about that?
uh,
It's good content.
actually apparently yeah, I was okay, perfect, Erica. But I'll get in touch with you about that. But no, it's like this dog, it had issues, okay? I don't know what happened, but I mean, I know your husband has handled dogs and you're familiar with working dogs
Yeah.
and things, right? This dog bit its handler one
Yeah,
day.
it happens. Yeah.
And the handler at least had the foresight to get the dog off of him, leave it in the back of his car, wrap his arm up, drove to the hospital, and parked it, and walked in with like towels and his his fleece like all wrapped around his
Mhm.
arm.
So he didn't bleed out while he was driving.
No, but the dog actually ripped out. You could see the ulna and the radius. It ripped
Oh.
the entire muscle in between the bones out.
Ow. So it didn't just snap. It like I've heard of dogs like in the heat of like, making apprehension or something, accidentally get the owner like they didn't mean to do it. And as soon as it
Well-
happens, they realize it. And the dog's like, oh, sorry, Dad. I didn't mean that.
It-
This dog sounded with that kind of injury. That dog, something
So-
snapped in its brain.
Yeah, they actually ultimately found out there was a brain tumor involved.
Oh, yeah.
But there'd been but it bit down. It took a chunk out of his arm. But the worst part was this dog's in the back of the patrol car going ape shit. And obviously the cops inside being treated.
Yeah.
And the doctor comes up to me like because I was working, and he's like, "Hey, I need you. Like, we need to get blood from the dog." Because we need to run it through the lab to make sure it doesn't have rape, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
can medicate. Like, we need to know.
So
Doesn't
Did you have to get a blood sample from a crazy dog?
Okay, well, I've had to, not from that dog, but that I looked at him and I said, it just did that to its owner. I don't know what you think. I don't know
Yeah.
what makes you think. I'm gonna walk over to there and be like, here, puppy, puppy, puppy.
There's not enough sausages in the world to get that job done.
Well, wait, I literally had this argument. I'm like, I'm like, no, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, well, I said, I hear dogs like cheese. Why don't you go get some ketamine tablets or something and go chuck it into the goddamn, wrap them in cheese and chuck it in the window.
That's
I don't know
not a
what
bad
to tell
idea.
you, but I am telling you, I am not going to do any of this.
Yeah. What you do is call animal control and you bring the
so-
blow darts.
They did call for the emergency vet that was up the street to come deal with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, hey Pat, hey guys. Unfortunately,
Not anymore, Jerry.
this is where it got worse. And Katie said, you're going to die for this one. This batshit crazy lady walks up to the car. Mind you, it is a marked police car that says K9, do not approach. The officer let the bat windows down so he was
Yeah.
getting air, and there's bars. She stuck her arm in between the fucking bars to pet the dog and got bit. I was
Oh
like,
no.
What part of this? Like, you literally walked up to a police car and be like, here, puppy.
Anytime
Jesus
there's
Christ.
a working dog, you don't pet it. You absolutely don't pet it.
This lady, and it was like this train wreck in slow motion because all you could hear were the other officers screaming like no in
In slow motion.
as everybody's like running towards the car, and this
Yeah.
lady's like, puppy.
Oh my goodness. And I assume it was like a Malinois or German Shepherd or something.
It was a Malinois.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
They
a
call
Czech-
them alligators for a reason.
Yeah, but I was just, we were all like, sir, ma'am, who made you think this was a good idea? Like, I need to know what in your brain said, this sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
no.
absolutely not.
Yeah, they the dog ended up having radiation and brain surgery to remove part of the tumor, and it was
That dog is very lucky that they didn't just put him down.
it was medically retired.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, instead of going through with the brain tumor surgery and the radiation and all of that, they
So
very well could have just made the decision like it's not worth saving if it's,
hold on, wait. Philip has asked. Wait, hold on. What did Philip ask? Sentencing. I don't know what the Supreme Court feels because this sentencing just occurred. Erica, what? What does your community think of the Supreme Court decision? Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I mean, it's going to be a big, like, it's going to be a case law issue. This is going to be a big deal case law issue. Although, you and I do have to talk to you about down in Texas. I have gotten to talk to a gentleman who was sent to death row in Texas.
Oh, okay.
And the death sentence was overturned because the prosecutor was clerking for the judge at the same time.
What?
Yep. Remember I said I got a case to talk to you about.
Okay, so death row case.
Yep, and he is out. He has been granted a new trial. He was out.
They let him out?
He ended up out on parole. Oh, it is an entire shit show. But I got to talk to him and his family, and they're willing to talk.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I sent you a message about this. You didn't answer.
Goodness. I'm so sorry. I've had so much going on.
I know. But yeah, no, this is insanity. It's in Texas.
So I want to dig into this case right now. What are the facts of the case? Did he do it?
So he actually, no, he didn't. And this is where it's screwed up. Hold on.
Okay.
Hear me out.
I'm always very skeptical when somebody's sentenced to death row and they're like, nope, he didn't do it. I'm like, let's check on that.
Didn't. So obviously, I mean, he was a meth addict. There was drugs involved. It was him and several other people.
Okay.
A crime spree had happened, and later in the day, he and one of the friends stole a car with a gentleman in it. Like they hijacked it at the gas station
like
and
carjacking. Okay.
Like carjacked him and they went. He passed out in the back seat. Hey, MLS. Passed out in the back seat. He said he woke up when they were like in a field and the other guy that was with him was shooting the dude. Like shot the dude. Was wearing, you know.
Well.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
He wakes up. They all end up getting interviewed. The other two guys involved, there's 3 of them. And they both plead and put all the blame on him. Now, here's the problem. The ballistics evidence clearly shows he could not have physically shot the guy.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if he physically shot them. He carjacked a dude and somebody died. And that carjacking is a felony. And if somebody dies when you're committing a felony.
Well, but there's a whole bunch. So the guy that, like you literally would have had to be standing outside the car. Like there's no way to physically, like the bullet holes. The reason I got into it is someone brought me the ballistics of it.
Okay.
MLS, we need to talk. Yes, MLS,
Yeah.
We definitely need to talk about this. But someone brought it to me because of the ballistics. Since that's what I deal with. And the ballistics did not line up. So a lady from, I think she was from like Denmark, got wind of this, and he was supposed to be, it was like weeks before, like it was real close to his execution. She comes to interview him. She digs up all this stuff. It comes out, the prosecutor's disbarred. Like massive prosecutorial misconduct and things.
Oh, absolutely. For the judge to be considered rude.
The lady goes and interviews one of the 2 guys, the one that testified against him. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I shot him. He admits that he did it, and the dude was passed out in the backseat, had no clue what was going on. But because he's already been sentenced, they can't do jack shit.
Are they going to retry him?
Yep. He is being
I don't think he should get the death sentence, but...
He's being retried, but I'm just saying, it's in this, I reached out to the family, and they were like, yeah, sure. We'll talk. There's already been a documentary, we'll talk. But yeah, the guy that set him up was like, oh yeah, totally, I'm getting out anyways. They sentenced me to 15 years on the plea deal. Yeah, you're right. I'm the one that did it. My DNA is on the gun and in the leather gloves. Yeah, no, I did it, and they can't do anything about it.
Ex-prosecutor disbarred after
there you go. You found it. There you go,
right.
Texas.
Yeah,
I got to talk to his family.
I'm really good at Googling.
Oh no, this was. I mean, those are. I gave you enough details. That's pretty easy to Google.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're clerking for the judge on a death penalty case that you're prosecuting. Who thought this was a good idea?
A bunch of people got out.
Yeah.
Of this. Yeah. Holy cow.
I know. I told you.
Wow.
ML law simple. Yeah, that's what Iris said. Send me an email, and you'll have to come up. We'll have to debate this before and discuss it and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Send me an email and we will
What?
make it a thing.
All right.
But yes, it was
You have to give me your
insane.
email address. Is it
Oh,
in
here.
your description or whatever?
It is, but hold on.
I don't have anything to write with right now.
Hold on.
Oh, you're going to message me. Thank you. Yeah, message me.
Yeah, and you also, I mean, I sent you the link, so you could. There's my email, but you can always. I sent you in Discord where I sent you the link. You can always-
Oh,
remember
I-
how you got the link to get on the stream?
I did. Well, I knew I was getting something, so I checked it. Yeah. All right.
Okay, yeah, but no, yeah, MLS. Yeah,
I
email
have
me.
2 trips planned this month, so I'm like going
Ooh, where?
crazy trying to get. I'm going to
Yeah.
Indianapolis. I'm going to Indianapolis, not this coming up weekend, like in a couple of days, but the following weekend because I'm going to Delphi.
Mhm.
And we're going
Oh
to talk
yes,
about
the
Delphi case.
Viking cult. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Odinism. Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're
Okay.
gonna
And-
cover
but,
that.
But my nickname's Loki, so like, I heard that I was like, oh god.
Yeah. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to Florida. My friend got booked to. He's a musician and got booked to play a show, like some event down there, and hired me to do the photography and stuff. So I also take pictures just as a hobby. I don't normally get paid for it, but I'm getting free travel and a hotel room and stuff to do this. So I'm going to
Yeah,
that.
I I generally don't babysit adults, but one of my friends
Cool.
won a music TV show, and his
Oh.
band went on tour,
Yeah.
and their publicist couldn't like be there for like 5 days because they were getting married. So I went, and let me tell you, I have never been more regretful and more disturbed by groupies in my entire life.
Yeah. Babysitting musicians is an interesting job.
The phrase "please stop sending dick pics to people" came out of my mouth more times in like a week and a half than it ever should have. Okay, I literally was like, no, we don't do that. Stop. They are good, and then like no, all of the no. That's what we're gonna do over here, all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but you have to let me know. But yeah, I got to talk to the mom, the guy that, and he's
Yeah,
been
that's
in and
so.
out
This is
twice.
so interesting.
The case is insane, and like I watched the documentary on it, and it's how I found out about it. And then he got originally they just pulled the death sentence, but then after the level of misconduct was uncovered, he was granted a new trial. And I was like, huh. And then they revoked his bond. And then he got back out on bond a second time. Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
It
I
was
don't see the
absolute
article you sent
insanity.
me. You sent me something about this missing girl that I posted on my Twitter.
Oh no!
Did
They
find
did find her. They
Okay,
found her
good.
later that night. I
Well,
posted an update.
What's
So it's
what's
one
crazy
of our
is I
viewers.
looked. Yeah, well, that's what you were saying. So I reposted it on Twitter, and then my private Facebook I posted
Yeah.
it on as well. But
Yeah,
because I have
posted an
friends who are in that part of New York that like
yeah, so I
actual.
posted an update at like 2 or 3 a.m. But yeah, the kid
But there was another girl missing from that same area at the same or like the northeast area anyway.
No, the
so I
other
went
one
to
was from
search
New.
for
Yeah,
missing
the other
girls,
one.
and then that one was found too. So that thank goodness.
Yeah, so the one that you're thinking of was the little girl abducted off a bike.
And like
then
at a
the guy-
campground or something. Yeah.
No, it was like at a park. And there was like a big
Okay.
lake, and she had been riding around the trail with like her friends and wanted to take one more lap and was snatched off the bike.
Yeah.
And they found her because
Crazies out there.
this is the insanity. The reason they even found her was they had a state trooper at the parents' house sitting there, right?
Mhm.
And a car drove up and stuck something in the mailbox and kept going. It turned out to be a ransom letter. They run
Wow.
prints on the ransom letter, comes back to a guy who was popped for a DUI like 15 years ago in another state. He
Mhm.
lives a mile away. So they go
Yeah.
and he argues a little bit, but he has her in a kitchen cabinet in a trailer.
Mhm. Yeah. That's what it
was
was.
like,
Yeah.
What are we?
Well, he's lucky that he didn't just follow him because when a kid is missing like that, they have cops just camped out all over the house, waiting for phone calls, waiting, for something to happen. He's lucky that they didn't just see him stick something in the mailbox and pull him over. Right.
That's the thing. So there's actually an investigation by the state police into that officer saying, should you have, like, I think like, why did you not stop him? And he was like, people have been stopping by all day, leaving like teddy bears.
Yeah,
I
that's true
didn't
too.
think it was, generally in a situation like that, you're not getting a ransom letter all of a sudden dropped off at the house.
Not hand delivered, because that's just dumb.
Well, there's a lot of dumb, okay? There was a whole lot of
Really
dumb
is.
involved
That's how
in that.
most criminals get caught, is because of dumb.
But, he already is a registered sex offender. He's had other, cases.
Yeah.
I was just like, what are we doing? That was like, I don't know if you were there. Like, I had the sex offender in my backyard day. That was great.
You did what now?
Wait. Yeah. I was in New Orleans and my mom was here, like at my
Uh-huh.
house. And she calls me and she goes, honey. And my mom is very like cardigan twin set and pearls. She does not curse. She called someone a bitch, and the whole room went silent because we were like, what, Mom? Like, my mom is prim and proper, okay? And she's like, I had to call the police. And they said, like, you have to say yes to because it's your house. And I'm like, what is happening? She goes, I was washing dishes at the sink and I looked out the window and there was a guy having a alone time in the backyard. Some dude is laying in the middle of my backyard at like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday jerking off in the middle of the backyard. Just my mom called the police. The police got there and the police, I guess the dispatcher was like, by the time we get there, he's probably gonna be done and gone. No, he was still there. So I guess the police yelled at, they announced their presence. He rolled over and proned out, arms out, just rolled over like, you've done this before, buddy.
Yeah, I assume that he's got some sort of like
he was a
stay away order from your house, some sort of trespass warrant, something like that.
I did have him trespassed after that. Yeah, he was arrested. He was a registered sex offender. He apparently had been dropped off at the hospital.
Which is actually worse considering.
So he had been taken to the hospital because of intox. Like, he was just out of it drunk. And he just walked away from the hospital. And the reason he chose my backyard is because my little one has a playhouse and like her toys. It's the only backyard like on my street that has kids' stuff. Now, mind you, she was with me in New Orleans.
Thank goodness for that.
My mom was here to like water flowers and like check the mail.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mom's like, it's just in the middle of the backyard. And I was like, excuse me, what? There's someone in my backyard doing what? Like, I'm gonna need you to repeat this. Like, I can't with this right now. What? Because it's like not a call you expect to get.
No, it's hard to process information like that. It takes a minute to
what
sink
are you
in.
doing? Sir, what are you doing? Oh my god. But yeah. No, you'll have to
Did
let
they
me
like
know.
arrest them for indecent exposure or anything like that too?
Public indecency.
Like something other than just don't come back to my house. It seems like it warrants something more than just don't come back.
So we had him trespassed. And he, all that stuff was going on. But I guess they'd let him out on bond. Like the next day, he was arrested 12 hours later for felon in possession of a firearm and giving a false identification. So he's sitting for felon in possession in a different county.
At least he's away.
Yeah, no. He was criminally trespassed, and I upgraded my security
We'll
system.
be right back.
Yeah, I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, Erica, you may have sent me that story. When people send me stories, sometimes I don't look at them until, like, a lot of the Crime Land stuff I react to live, and I just don't see it before that. So, sorry.
But yeah, no. Yeah, we'll have to talk about the Texas case because, like I said, I talked to the family, and they were like, "We'll talk." They were like, "We'll talk." You can totally use. And the lady that did the documentary, she's like, "Yeah, you can use clips. Like, I'll give permission. I don't care."
Yeah, that's great.
They're all real chill. Yeah,
especially if the forensics or the ballistics and stuff don't line up.
Oh, ballistics, not remotely. The angle. So when I looked at the ballistics when someone sent it to me, because in the one case with like New Mexico, I tore apart the one shooting and how they mishandled the ballistics.
Yep, and the guy
ripped it to shreds. But the thing is, the guy would have had to like have his arm out the back window of the car in the front with like. You had it like there was proof that the person that shot someone had to have been outside of the car.
And we have proof that he's not Stretch Armstrong, right?
He's not Stretch Armstrong.
Okay. Yeah. Just making sure.
But yeah,
The
no,
only thing that I could think that they could get him on now, like if they retry him, is just that it was in the commission of a felony. Like, and I don't
So-
even think I agree with that law.
and
I really don't, but
so
I know it's a
my
law.
visit, here was my like when I looked at it and I was looking through like the statute and stuff. I
Mhm.
have to say they admit he was unconscious when they picked up the person that ended up being murdered.
Yeah.
Like this was a whole day's worth of crime. He had
Yeah.
nodded off on meth in the back seat. So like he woke up and so he's like, look, yeah, they stole the car, but like I literally had no clue what was happening. I told the guy to let me out, like to the guy
Yeah.
driving. Like I was high as fuck and nodded off. And then the two other guys went to. Here was the thing: the two other guys went to the prosecutor and were like, "Yeah, he did it. We'll both give you a statement." They both
Yeah.
pled out, and he went to.
But
death
now
row.
their statements aren't going to hold up to retry him because they've already admitted the
And they've
opposite of
admitted-
what they said at the original trial.
And
So
that's the
even though
problem.
they can't retry that guy, they can't use that false evidence
and
against
right,
him
and that's
either.
the thing. The guy that served his time was like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm the one that did it, and
Yeah.
you can't do shit about it now."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh my god!"
I bet they won't even retry him. They're just going to hold it over
Oh.
his head.
I think they're going to because
years.
they've revoked his bond twice.
Oh.
He got
So
out.
is he back in
he's in
jail now, or
Nope.
he's still out? Okay.
They got it back out. So he was originally, they just overturned the sentence
Okay.
and he was remanded back. Well, then the other guy admits that no, I did it. And like the level of prosecutorial misconduct, like completely comes out. Like
Yeah.
how batshit bananas this whole thing is.
Yeah, I did a 2-second Google search and it's like a bunch of people got let out because of this BS.
Absolute
So-
batshit bananas.
Yeah.
So like all of this comes to light and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to grant you a new trial, not just sentencing. And he gets a bond and they raise money for the bond. And he gets out. He gets permission to go, be working across the state line where he is in Texas, is right next to Louisiana.
Yeah.
He gets permission. And then, no, I haven't really been able to find much. His bond gets revoked. He goes back to jail. And like they revoked it because like they were like, well, we didn't think you were there and you were there, whatever.
So he didn't
They
get
bond him
permission
out
to cross
again.
the state line.
He did, but it was in the middle of like what they were trying to cover up some of what this prosecutor,
Yeah.
when they revoked the bond, it was kind of in that sea of mitigate things. There's an outcry.
Yeah.
They bonded him out again. He's out, and it's supposed to go to trial. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to retry him on, or nothing's going to hold up. Because I'm sorry, like my dude, that's a whole lot of misconduct.
Yeah.
We should not be answering our own briefs for the judge.
For sure. Yeah.
Like the prosecutors over here, like, I filed a motion. Yeah, I answered my own motion. Like, what are you doing? No, this isn't gonna work. But yeah.
All right, I'm going to take off. I got to get up
Yeah, you
early
take off?
tomorrow.
Yeah, so do I. I'm actually gonna take off soon too. But yeah,
Thanks
I will
for
catch
having
you.
me up, though.
Yes,
I
of course.
appreciate it.
Yeah, send me a message. And
And it was nice
we'll
meeting
get-
you, Lord Croco Squirrel.
yes, he's my favorite squirrel.
Yep, I am her tech squirrel. I have my own channel, but
Yes. So,
I'll find
okay,
you. I'll
Katie.
subscribe.
going back.
Yeah, I'll catch you later, Katie. Thanks.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Making law
we lost
simple.
Bear
Make
Ranch.
sure you email me. Making
Hmm?
law simple. Oh, I just said making law simple. Make sure you email me to discuss this Crumbly thing. So, what do you think, Croc? You think we're gonna end up? We're gonna stream it. What do you think? I think we're gonna stream
That
this.
sounds like fun to me.
Yeah,
I'm completely okay with the idea of streaming that.
This whole thing is it's gonna be precedent setting is gonna be the problem. Thanks, Katie. It was fun having you too. Yeah, it's just gonna be insanity. Like, like I said, I mean I agree the parents are liable. I just think the fact that it's going to become very nebulous and very slippery slope very quickly.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the slippery slope. Because
Uh,
if you've got that proves to be case law in Michigan. The question, of course, is what's Michigan going to do about it, and will all of the other states around it do the same thing?
Well, I think what you're going to see. Hey, Erica. I think what you're going to see is that you're going to start seeing them. It's going to bleed over into other states. The next thing that happens, they're going to go after a parent, or they're going to go after a gun store, or they're going to go after a superintendent. Like, it's just going to,
Well, if you've got your gun store, the guy's got whoever it is that's running has got an FFL. All he really has to do at that point is pony up the freaking background check.
Right,
and that should be enough to get him out.
Right, but I'm just saying in general, like, in this, I mean, yes, it's going to be fact specific. And Erica, I 1,000% think these parents deserve to be held accountable. My concern, I want these parents held accountable in this case. I do. And yes, it's fact specific, but my concern is when you start to take the case, like, it becomes a precedent in case law. You're going to, and I've already seen them try to argue this with this case when it first happened, that the kid was with the mom when she picked up the gun from the FFL from the store, and was making comments, "Oh, it's your gun, honey." Like, you're gonna start getting people trying to argue a straw man purchase, like, and it was like, no, it wasn't, it didn't fit that definition, but. And so I worry that you're going to see, it's just going to become this nebulous thing where it's like, how far can a very liberal DA push something?
If you're talking about a leftist DA, yeah, they can do that. They can go quite a ways into that. That law.
Erica, I 1,000% think these parents deserve to be held accountable. My only issue with this is, my issue isn't with this case. My issue is with the implications it can have. And you have that with every law. But just in general, my issue is the implication of it.
Yeah, one does not generally desire to kick open a door and then watch on in horror as it can't be closed again.
Yeah, and that's my problem with it. I think in this specific case, the parents are guilty. And obviously we can prove they knew what the hell was wrong. They didn't do anything. And the school is just as problematic. Oh, yeah, Erica, as one parent, one knows their child. Yeah. And that's what I've said. Erica, you can't. Erica, do you want to come on? I'll send you the link.
But yeah, no, I think I think there are a couple people at the school that need a firm slap on the wrist. Don't do this twice. If you do it again, we will make pain for you.
It's in your Discord. I'm sorry. The fact that a shooting happens and mom sends a text message, "Don't do this," and dad goes to look, you knew damn well as soon as that happened. Because as a mother, I hear there's a school shooting. I'm not texting Micro to be like, "Hey, you didn't have to do that." I'm texting her to be like, "Oh my God, are you okay? What happened? Where are you?"
Yeah. That would be my first thought too.
The fact that the first thing that went through your mind was not, Oh my God,
do
is my kid okay? It was don't do it. That's my, issue.
They what the parent should have done was taken him out of school, left him to sit there at home for a little while.
He
And they get
asked
back
for
to work.
help repeatedly.
At 15 years old, he's old enough to stay by himself for a few hours. Not a few days, but a few hours at
He had
least.
asked for help a few times.
And it should have been honored.
And it wasn't. And the fact that his parents were like, nope, we're not taking him home. Like, yeah, we know you just called us to the school because he's looking up ammunition. And on top of it, text, look at your Insta. And, no, like, we'll get him help within, and the school's like, okay, well, you have 2 weeks to show us that he got help. No. No. In
No,
loco
take
parentis,
him home. Get
I am
him a.
30. I'm 30. No, if I'm the school, I'm 302ing him. If I'm his parent, I am driving his ass to the psych facility right there and then. You literally have a manifesto about the kind of person you want to murder for optics.
Yeah, that's not good optics.
That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Like, in no way at that point. I'm sorry, you knew.
He's going to get the notoriety that he wanted.
Hold on, we have Erica. Let's add the lovely Erica. How are you, gorgeous?
I'm good. How are you?
I am here. I am
Okay,
just
so I have followed this case. I mean, I remember where I was when I heard about this shooting because this shooting is 25-30 minutes from our house.
Yeah, a friend of mine's daughter was in school there at the time.
And immediately upon seeing Ethan Crumbly and then seeing the kids that he chose, the 4 children that he chose to kill first, immediately you could tell Ethan Crumbly had issues.
Yeah,
And the people he chose were the popular, beautiful crowd.
he literally wrote in the one manifesto, it has to be a pretty white girl with a promising future ahead of her.
And see, when this first came out, we didn't have any of that evidence whatsoever. But what else was haunting is that Ethan would be left at home quite a bit. And he would text his parents and say, I'm hearing voices, this is happening. And his parents would not answer his text.
Oh, I 1,000%. If you called me to my child's school and were like the fact that the parents were like, I'm not taking you home, I have stuff to do. No. Get him help. You got called to the school because your kids, what is no?
But this started before.
Oh, no, I know that. Mean, I'm just saying in general.
And then for them to ignore those kind of text messages and then to go and purchase him a gun.
Yep.
That is where, and I mean, there have come out many CPS reports of, neighbors, calling about him, the parents being off, partying.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I mean, these parents failed that child. And where I'm not the child, he had these awful, awful thoughts. And as a parent, I just don't know how one could ignore any such thought or like look at your child and not know they're not happy.
I
Like,
completely agree. Like I said, in this case, I mean, it's obvious that the parents are guilty. The parents dropped the ball and the school dropped the ball. Like everybody was like, he's someone else's problem. And, the kid asked for help, and I don't fault him in that. My only, and yes, he in this, like the parents are very guilty in this case. Like I have no issue with that. My only issue is when I look, you know what I mean? When you look down the path and you're like, I can see where somebody is going to misuse this, like this ruling. So,
yes,
kind of like it's going to be the case law floodgate that it is going to kick open is going to be a problem. And yes, in this specific case, he is very obviously guilty, and the parents are horrific people. You know what
yeah,
I
they
mean?
are.
But it's like you look at it and you're like, shit. Yeah, in this case, it's the right thing to do. But then it gives you case law and precedent where somebody can use it, in an unintended manner.
Yes.
And that's
Exactly.
my biggest, in this case, I think the parents are very much guilty. But my
Mhm.
concern with it is, like I said, it becomes this nebulous thing. Well, where do you draw that line? Is it, and it's not just with a gun at that point. If you're saying,
No.
because look, I can tell you, in my circle and talking to the other officers and things, we were all, and my little group we were talking today. And, I've made no secret. I've worked 2 school mass violence incidents. So I know what goes on. I've been there. I've lived through them. I've lived through the trials. And, it's a lot. But the problem is you're going to take this and you're going to see somebody say, one of my friends is a police chief, said he can see someone making the argument that you bought your kid a car knowing your kid smokes weed.
Right.
And your
Yeah.
kid killed somebody and now you're guilty for buying it.
Right. But I mean, legally you can't own a gun at 14, 15 years old.
But I'm just saying in general, like that's why I said in this specific case,
Yeah.
you can't legally own it. But that's not the problem. Isn't that it's that if you look at the statute and how they're charging it, you end up with you could make that fit with you knew your kid drank and did drugs and you gave them a car and they killed people. You know what I mean? It leaves this area of where does responsibility, like who's responsible for what, where's your responsibility end?
But honestly, I mean, by law, I mean, you're responsible for your child until they're 18 years old.
Yeah, Paul, there's so many things that fit the analogy. It's
Yeah.
like you draw this line and it just becomes nebulous. And I mean, that's why I said, Paul, like you'll have to come up when we'll sit here and discuss this. You'll have to join the discussion. I worry that you're going to take a state like New York. You're going to take a state that is very democratic and very anti-gun, and they're going to use this ruling and weaponize it. And
California especially.
California, you look at some of these states and it's just going to be a Pandora's box of case law.
It is. And I mean, I will say I will never, ever visit a sanctuary city,
Then you don't want to come here.
Yeah, Paul, I'm
Where are
aware
you?
that
Here.
Huh?
he's in Washington.
I'm in Washington State, and they're trying to make this a sanctuary state. California is a sanctuary state, and well, that turns out to, and they're having even more problems.
Oh yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
I know how 2-8 unfriendly New York is. The last competition that I was shooting in, I specifically had to fly into Newark because the gun, my competition weapon, is not legal in New York, and there's the rules. So I had to fly into another state and drive an extra like 2 hours because they're notorious in New York.
So
If you,
don't
like
compete in New York.
that, if you fly in and you've got a weapon that you're not supposed to have there, that they will, even if it's just because like you flew in and you were planning on driving right back out of the state, they don't care. There have been quite a few people that have ended up getting arrested with firearms charges for that. Over, so I flew in through Jersey.
Actually, Brendan and I, we took a vacation with Addison to Florida. My first time ever being to Florida, in 2017. And he refused to not bring his gun. So he put it, he checked it. They secured his bag. It was fabulous because we went up to the line, first in line. When we got off, we had our luggage in a special place. And we didn't have to go through like all of that because he had already been checked.
Oh no,
And
yeah, it doesn't matter if you, even if you declare it and you check it. I know several officers that have, checked the weapon, declared it, it's been, and it's gone through everything.
mhm.
And then as soon as they picked up their bags and walked out the doors at the airport in New York, they were arrested.
Oh, this was in Florida.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I travel with my guns all the time, but, I had a competition and I should have been flying into New York. I had to fly into Jersey and drive an extra 2 hours because
Yeah.
it would have put me in a place to get arrested.
Where was this competition? I'm curious now.
Huh?
Where
In
was
New
the
England.
competition? Huh?
North. In New England. North.
Oh boy.
It was one of the IPSC events. The problem is the IPSC open class race guns are not in New York legal. Since they're, ported, compensated, altered trigger, holodeck sight, they're not legal.
I am going to try to get to bed.
Yeah.
My
I'm going to
German
sleep.
Shepherd
It's
tripped
ready.
me.
Ooh, not good.
No, he tripped me this morning
Ooh.
on the way out of the front door. He stepped on my sandal and I tripped. And I seriously, when I was falling, it was like the slow motion of, oh my God, what am I gonna hurt first? And so I fell on my elbow, my knee, and of course the camera was on the charger because otherwise I would have released it. It was hilarious. I know it had to have been, but I hurt myself.
Well, you go to sleep, and I will check in with you tomorrow.
Yes.
Feel better. I'll check in with you tomorrow. We have lots to talk about.
Have a good night.
Okay, you too, my sweetie.
You too.
So, Paul, I wouldn't laugh at your AR. Yeah, no, Boom was over here. I was cleaning the King Cobra, and she's like, well, how light's that trigger? I'm like, it's got a hair trigger. It's like a 2-pump. And she's like, well, what do you mean by that? How? And so I had her put like her finger. I mean, obviously it was open. It had been checked. It was unloaded. So I just literally stuck her finger through the trigger guard. And just, since the barrel on it is so heavy compared to the grip and how it's weighted, it just like tipped down the barrel, towards the floor. And as soon as it got past, being perfectly level, just the weight of the barrel pulled the trigger for her. She didn't have to move at all. Like, yeah, that's why. She was like, that might be the lightest trigger I've ever felt. I'm like, yep. It's not a tremendously safe trigger on that one. I have to deal with it. Oh, I would. It's awful what you had to do to make it New York legal. Yeah, Paul, I mean, my sibling moved to California and I made fun of him.
Well, honestly, I think I would probably find someplace else to live and work and put it, because they keep a record of those.
Of what?
They keep a record of weapons in New York. That's absolutely thorough. But they could just come and take it away from them when they ban it.
Yeah, I made fun of my sibling. He had to leave his guns in Pennsylvania. A bunch of them. Oh yeah, Paul, I feel you there. I would not. My dad was born in New York and was from Brooklyn. My best friend. Well, not everybody knows Boom, but my best friend from college, Brandy, she's from upstate New York. My niece just moved to upstate New York because that's where her fiance is, and I'm like, nope. I was offered several jobs in like the Rochester area, and I was like, no, I can't take guns. I'm good. I'm good. But I am going to give us a few minutes. I'm going to say good night in a few minutes. I will not have my lisp after tomorrow because my actual veneers are here, so I don't have the temporary. Yeah, they're getting put on in the morning. So I don't have to deal with like my temporaries that make me have my list, which is killing me. It's driving me crazy. Yeah. They called me this morning. They're like, be there at 8. Okay. Only thing registered is the strip lower. Yeah, Paul, that's me too. And I have an FFL, so you would be hard pressed to match weapons up. Although I will tell you, I had this entire discussion. Paul, and Croc, I want your opinion on this too. Thank you for bringing this case to my attention. I'll bring it up to the local gun clubs. Oh, of course, Paul. And Paul, please, by all, email me and come join me on the channel one day. We will talk. Night, Ron. Have fun in the Mojave. Yeah, no, Paul, we can talk this one. We can talk lots of interesting gun case law and gun law. That is what I do. I do all the gun stuff. But when is next game night? Yeah, Paul, just send me an email. You have my email. Ron. Crap, can you do tomorrow night for game night?
I can do tomorrow night for game night.
We'll do tomorrow night for game night, Ron. We're going to do game night tomorrow night. But, so Paul, I don't know if you've heard about this, Croc. I don't know if you've heard this one. They're trying to get a law passed. California's one of the ones that wants to do it, to essentially alter the firing pins on weapons so that it has a number or a micro imprint when it.
Yeah, that was part of the California law.
Yeah, I'm like, so essentially, you have a random design on it. It's going to hit the back of the, and stamp it. Well, I reload. So I have plenty of cases of casings. How are you going to prove which mark on the casing was from what time?
Yeah.
Because if I'm like, okay, if I'm in California, I'm sitting here saying, look, you're right. That matches the firing pin registered to me through whatever stupid ass thing California's come up with.
It was.
But I went to the range, and I left I swept up the brass and put it in the can. Okay, but I can tell you, the gun club that my dad's are interested at, and at the gun club, if you want to leave your brass, if you don't reload, You're all, like they have you separate the calibers, and you can dump it in 2 buckets, and any of the members are allowed to take the casings to go tumble and reload. So how can you tell me which, firing pin indent on it? Yeah,
They seem to think the firing print in the indent there is only on the primer, and so on and so forth. I think they're actually trying to stamp the casings themselves as well.
They want to do it in a way so that the casings are marked as well as the primer.
Okay, so which one then?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, regardless, I'm like, that's the problem. I can change out a firing pin in almost any weapon in under like 10 minutes, if that.
It would take me a little longer, but yeah, firing pins are easy.
But you don't gunsmith. I mean, like that's literally. I sit here and tear shit down and gunsmith. I cannot tell you how many barrels, and I'm not going to tell people, but I own multiple barrels, both match grade and not, for multiple weapons that I can swap out. I mean, shit, look at the SIG 320. You can change the caliber. It is specifically marketed, being a striker fire, that you buy the SIG 320, they have conversion kits. You can take it from a 9 to a 40 to a 45. In like 5 minutes. It's like a drop-in thing with those. That was the appeal of it. But you could change the caliber that easily because it's a Lego gun, essentially at that point.
Yeah.
I have multiple barrels because I can tell you right now, some of the barrels I have on my competition stuff, they're match grade barrels. I can tell you Les Bear charges a lot of money for a competition grade match grade barrel. And I can swap it. You can buy just his match grade barrels. And you can swap it out into another weapon. Like, you're not the absolute, cesspool. But they're going to try to, I don't even know what they're thinking. Like, how much did you smoke before you came up with this brilliant idea?
Probably too much.
Yeah, your barrel costs more than the entire rifle. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, honestly, the Les Bear barrel for an AR is, 4 digits. I have multiple barrels from my Macmillan and my Barrett for different purposes. Like I've had this discussion with many people because they're like, well, the ballistics will always. No, they're not. I can alter a weapon in minutes with parts that don't have to be serialized,
including firing pins.
And then all you do is you take the firing pin and the barrel and you dispose of them, you put the originals back, and you're not going to match the ballistics. And so it kills me. I'm like, you people don't understand how guns work.
Nope.
But
they are machines. You can, and as such, putting in other parts, it's just like putting in aftermarket anything else on a car.
Paul, and that is awesome. If you would like to come join me with a 50 caliber, we can go. You can go put holes in things at much larger distances than 200 yards. I don't think you want to hit something at 200 yards with some of my stuff. You wouldn't be worried about a dime-sized hole because one hole would be dime-sized. But no, it's just like this entire thing. But so this Crumbly thing, we're going to have to do... Yeah, Paul, I have 250 cals and a 338 Lapua Magnum.
Do we have any idea when that's going to go to trial?
No. The decision came down yesterday.
Okay.
I have been waiting on this decision. So they appealed this in March. And then in May is when oral arguments were. And
No, it's
nobody knew when they were going to take it up. Like, nobody knew when the Supreme Court was going to take up the appeal. Because they did the oral arguments in May, and that's when the circuit court was like, no, it stands, and they took it and appealed it to the Supreme Court. But the way the Michigan Supreme Court works is they don't tell you, like, if they've definitely taken the case, and they also don't have to tell you when they are making a decision. Kind of like with SCOTUS. You have this entire list of ones, and you think that they're going to come out at some time during the session, but you don't know when. You know, when they start releasing them, you're not sure what's getting released when, kind of thing. And this one just popped up, yesterday. It was announced. Because I've been watching it, because I knew they went back into session, a couple weeks ago. So I've been watching for it and like waiting. I mean, I've been checking up on it. I mean, since we first covered it. I'm sure you remember we were talking about it. And I said I wanted to cover it because of the liability thing. So I flag things through the court system. So, they put it through with like Pacer. And I got an email that said like, hey, a ruling got issued.
Apparently it was one line.
Yes, one sentence. This court denies the appeal. It can proceed to trial. That's literally what it said. 4-0 decision by the justices. Nobody dissented. What?
You could expect that.
No, I'm just saying. I was just like, okay. That's a good answer.
They're going to trial.
Yeah, so now I want to see when. I can tell you in the circles I run, and there's a lot of people, they're going to push this to trial real soon.
Well, we should see if we can find a shorter case somewhere.
It's not going to be a long trial.
I
don't think it's going to be a very long trial.
Well, no, but there's still lifetime between then and now.
Oh yeah, I've been looking. But so I'm going to call it a night.
Okay.
I'll put up a stream for 9:30 for tomorrow night if that works for you.
That's fine by me.
Okay. All my beasties, I love you all that have stayed here for the 2 hours. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you tomorrow night for game night. Good night, everybody.
Okay.